Today, I'm going to show you a fast fix to start getting more conversions and leads from your landing pages. And here's the secret. It's upgrading your call to action buttons. So today's training is backed by the proven psychology that it takes to persuade and motivate someone to take action. I've launched over 450 funnels and landing pages. I've run countless split tests, and I've watched hundreds of hours of user sessions on landing pages. Today, we're gonna focus on 3 things: how to write the copy, where to put your call to action, and what color your call to action should be. Plus, if you stick around until the end, I'll reveal the 2 call to action power-ups that'll help you to take your conversions to the next level. So firstly, what is a call to action, or a CTA as I might call it throughout today's video? Basically, it's the button that's gonna move somebody through your funnel, or to get them to take the next step, or to take up the offer on your page. It's the action we're asking somebody to do, and it should be connected to the Golden Hippo offer, which is the core to your page. For example, the offer on this page that we created with Linktree is to get a free trial or to join their pro subscription for free. Or this one for another client, Wayflyer, where it is to download a free ebook. You can see here the buttons on the pages are encouraging them to take the action we want them to take, and it's connected to the offer. The whole point of the CTA button is to get the user to do what we want them to do. But as we all know, it's not as simple as just wanting somebody to do what you want them to do, right? We need to show what's in it for them to actually persuade and motivate them to take action. And that's where number 1 comes in, the copy, and the most important part of your button. So there's a few rules that you can follow. Ideally, it's 3 to 5 words max, right? Like, you don't want a really long button that takes a lot of thinking or takes a lot of time to process, and you don't want the button to go over several lines on mobile, because most of your users and prospects will be viewing your pages in mobile. The next thing to remember is to make sure you're not getting cute or clever with the words on your button. You want to make sure it's an action word and that the copy actually describes what you want them to do. The next tip is to make sure that it's focusing on with them, or what's in it for me. As a quick example, consumers don't want to buy. That's them giving you something, their money. They want to get, which means that they're receiving something from you, right? And see how that psychology of a slight word change can totally change the perception of the value transaction. A few examples of buttons that I've tested in the past would be sign up versus join. You can feel sign up is like, oh, I have to take work and like I have to do things, and that sounds annoying. Whereas join, that has a much more positive connotation. It sounds like I'm gonna be joining into something fun and exciting. But I've also seen in split tests that go the other way. And it's important to note there is not a one size fits all. You need to test these out. But this video is going to help you to think about the why, you know, not just the how and the what, but the why. So that the strategic thinking behind your execution, you know, you can front load the work and you can give the control, or what you publish first, its best chance at life. Another one that I've split tested and has been a big winner, especially for lead magnets, is to have a big promise in the headline. So discover how you can create a business in 2 weeks and earn millions of dollars and be living in the Bahamas without a care in the world. And then the call to action would say, yes, show me how. So the call to action is actually affirming that big promise, like they're making a commitment that they want to achieve what we've promised in the headline. Another one that we've tested out before is download now versus get my free training now, or get my free ebook now. So this is giving a bit more specificity about what they get and also relating it back to them. So download now or get my free ebook, right? There's a very difference in the what's in it for me, so what, why should I care? But here's the simple test when it comes to your copy. Does it benefit you, the business, or does it benefit them, the prospect? So if you go and scan your call to actions on your website now, do they say, get in touch, chat with sales, get a quote? Because that's boring and nobody wants that, of course. Like, imagine if you met somebody and you're like, chat with sales. they don't want that, right? But imagine if you understood their dream outcome and it's like speak with a onboarding specialist and discover how to achieve blah dream outcome. Okay, cool. Now I start to see the value of taking the action you want me to take. Next is the location. Most of your landing pages will have it above the fold. Big headline, a few bullets, call to action above the fold, and then you'll have the call to action sporadically throughout the page where it makes sense, right? Where like the copy is asking for a call to action. Now on this page, you can see we've got something called a pattern interrupt or a call to action section. So instead of just having a button, we actually have something called a pattern interrupt, which stubs people's eyes while they're reading. A lot of people create these clean designs that are like smooth as butter and easy to scroll through, but that's a problem because the copy in the offer, you want to attract the attention to important things. So by using these pattern interrupts or these call to action sections, that can actually increase your conversions as well. I've seen it work for some clients, most clients, but not all of them, and you have to test these out. Now, there are examples where you don't have a button above the fold because you want to force consumption. When I've worked with $1 million courses, for example, we don't always put a call to action above the fold because we want the person to consume the information on the page. There's a much bigger purchasing decision, or maybe we've found them earlier in their buyer's journey and we actually need them to consume the information before we're like, yo, give us $2,000. We need them to see the testimonials and see the results and to resonate and skim through the headlines. So there are examples where you might put a call to action not until the bottom of the page, but not often. Throughout the page, it's just more important to have visibility and clarity than to really labor over where does it go. But ultimately, if you fail to have it somewhere, the reader doesn't know what action to take. Next is the color, and I've added this in because most people are obsessed with it, and there's a couple of things to keep in mind, but like testing a call to action color is like the lamest thing that you can do, but it's the thing that everyone talks about for split testing. Like in a prioritization framework for our clients, split testing a call to action color, like nearly never, unless, yeah, they're like really established and going really well. So the one thing that I'll tell you about is the isolation effect. And because the whole point of the call to action is we want people to understand that's what they click to take an action, the isolation effect is where you only use that color on the call to action. So a lot of brands, they have their brand style guide, which means that their accent colors, their primary colors, their call to action, everything's all mushed together. And so the button doesn't actually stand out. What you need to do is just have one color, go with that. That's like heuristics or best practice, and then test that out first. Okay, so that is copy, location, color. And now we're gonna get into the 2 power-ups you can test. Number 1 is removing the friction to click. So we want someone to take action. We need to show what's in it for me. It's pretty daunting to click a button and not know where you're gonna go next. So what you can do is just underneath the button, like the one I'm showing you right now, is have some social proof underneath it, trusted by 1,000 other ambitious brands to grow their business. Or you could have something underneath like 100% free, 100% no credit card needed, or whatever it is. You need to understand the objection or the friction that is existing in your consumer's mind to click that button and then remove it underneath the call to action. Second, you need to test this, but pretty much 98% of the time it works for me, which is having a button sticky on mobile. So once somebody starts to scroll below the fold, you have the button sticky, not at the top necessarily, but at the bottom, because like for rule of thumb, no pun intended, that's how their thumb can reach the button a lot easier. So a sticky just means that it's present whenever somebody is scrolling. Okay team, that is the end of today's training on call to actions and how to get a fast fix on your landing page. Let me know in the comments, what are you going to implement, or what was your number 1 takeaway? And just like with any video, if you have a page you want me to tear down, whether it's yours or another company, put it in the comments and I'll tell you 3 ways to improve conversions fast. Thanks for joining me in another training, and I'll speak with you soon.